Step and take a seat. Got stories we'll repeat. Groove with me, feel the beat.
I was going to say hemorrhoids, not hemorrhoids, fibroids. Fibroids, especially black women. Um, and I know that there's a history of the medical field going straight to hysterectomy when women uh, were complaining of fibroid problems, and that was a problem because it didn't have to go that way. These fibroids were non-cancerous, non-cancerous, and there were other things to try. So a lot of women, a lot of black women had hysterectomies in my family. Had hysterectomies as a result of fibroids and the symptoms that the fibroids caused. There are other treatment options now for women with fibroids, and I'm aware of that. I chose the hysterectomy, and I'll tell you why shortly. So if I'll just wind up and go back. Basically, as an adolescent, I had regular periods. They were they were on a schedule. Exactly, they would last 4 to 5 days. They weren't extremely heavy. The only problem I had is I had really bad cramps all my life, really bad cramps during my menstrual period. But other than that, it was regular time span, regular duration. So I'd say I started having problems. Oh, and I've had two children by regular childbirth. So it had, it never interfered with my ability to have children. So I'd say I started having problems in my 40s, maybe late 30s, but definitely in my 40s. Um, I would, every once in a while, my period would be off as far as when it started. And then every once in a while, I'd have a super heavy period. I mean, like, clots and just going through overnight pads and super tampons. It was just bad. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, like, you have fibroids. I'm like, okay, yeah. I knew I had fibroids when I had kids, but they weren't causing me any problems, so we didn't bother them. They didn't bother me. We didn't bother them, right? So at the time, the doctor was telling me, here are your options. There is a procedure where they can go in and cut off the blood supply to the fibroid, and that would allow the fibroids to shrink, um, but it wouldn't get rid of them. And it wasn't guaranteed to solve your problem, but it helped a lot of people. That was um, a procedure that was happening a lot. I remember hearing commercials about it. You could have the fibroids removed, but that didn't mean that they wouldn't grow back. I believe, if I'm not speaking incorrectly here, fibroids are fed by estrogen. So as long as I was secreting estrogen, there's a chance the fibroid could come back. Um, New fibroids could grow, whatever. No guarantees, right? So I'm like, it's only happened periodically. When I go into menopause, this is all going to be shut down anyway. So I knew I could start menopause. They're at 45, 50. I'm like, it's coming, so I'll wait. So I continued to have these sporadic um, periods of heavy bleeding. So it finally got to a point where I'm like, this is ridiculous. I stayed anemic. No one ever said, oh, you're probably anemic because of these periods of heavy bleeding. It's just like, I had a physical, they checked my blood. Oh, you're iron anemic, take these iron pills. No one looked to see why I was low, why my iron was low constantly. So I was constantly taking iron pills. So finally, I'd say I turned 50, and I was still having these problems. And I'm like, what the hell? When is this menopause thing happening? I was experiencing perimenopausal symptoms. That's a whole nother story. But the periods kept coming. The frequency with which I was having these heavy periods was increasing. It got to a point where it was just too much. I remember my mom's funeral. Um, there was at the end, the procession, uh, I could just feel a gush. And they're telling me, come up here and walk with your brothers up the aisle to carry your mom's body to the back of the church while everybody else will file out of the church behind you. And I was terrified to stand up because I had felt this gush, and I'm like, do I have this big spot? Am I leaving blood on the church pew? What happened? Luckily, it contained itself until after everyone had gone through the church. I had to send my boyfriend and my cousin out to bring me a new outfit and underwear. Luckily, I had stuffed another dress in my purse just in case, because I knew I had heavy periods and who knew what would happen. So sure enough, I mean, I it was a mess, and it delayed the repast that was supposed to happen after her service. Um, I mean, that on top of everything else, it was just, it was bad and memorable. Um, so I'm like, I've got to take care of this. So I went to the doctor again, and I'm like, how can we do this? Let's is there anything else I can do? Why is menopause taking so long? Um, so at the time, my frame of mind was, why take something out of your body that's supposed to be there? Um, the body's going to naturally take care of itself. I'm going to go into menopause. All this stuff's going to get shut down. I'm not going to have this problem anymore. I just need to hang in there. So, yeah. So, I went on my sabbatical, right? I went on my sabbatical. And there was one occasion while I was in Georgia, I just knew I was going to have to go to the hospital because I was having a period that was so bad. I mean, it was so bad. I had to sit on a towel. It was bad. Um, I decided not to go to the hospital, and I just toughed it out, got through it, and got through the rest of my sabbatical. When I came back, I skipped an important piece. There was one after my mom's funeral. So after my mom's funeral, there was this period of time I was passing out. And there's another video on when I passed out in Paris. That was the start of it. So I passed out in Paris. They took me to the hospital via ambulance, and they said it was due to a pulmonary embolism. All right. So when I got back to the States and saw my doctors, they put me on a blood thinner to deter my body from clotting. So they put me on a blood thinner. I went on my period, and it never stopped. I mean, huge clots, just blood, blood. Sorry if this is grossing you out, but it was just ridiculous. I could barely walk. I called my doctors, and they're like, no, don't get off that blood thinner. And I'm like, I don't think this is helping. So I finally called my gynecologist, and I'm like, hey, they trying to kill me. I had this blood clot thing, pulmonary embolism, blah, blah, blah. They put me on blood thinners. Now I'm on my period. It's causing me to bleed more. I'm having super heavy period. I'm weak. This is how much I'm going through. Um, I need to stop these. I'm going to stop these blood thinners because I think, that's contributing to it. And she said, okay, stop the blood thinners. I'll call your other doctors and go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, wound up needing blood transfusion because I had lost so much blood. And I stayed in the hospital. I stayed in the hospital for 2 days. While I was there, they put this filter in my heart that's supposed to deter blood clots from forming, or blood clots from, it wasn't in my heart, it was in my aorta, or vena cava, one of my major blood vessels going to my heart. There was a filter put in there. Um, so anyway, uh, that was scary, and I'm like, y'all trying to kill me? What's happening here? These two things don't go together. So again, things calmed down. Um, and then I went on my sabbatical, right? So made it through the rest of my sabbatical, came back home to the States. A couple of months later, lo and behold, I once again had this really heavy period, lasted weeks. Um, I wound up going to the emergency room saying, hey, help. Something has to give. Just take it out. Take it out. I'm ready. Take it out. I'm over 50. Menopause hasn't happened. I can't wait anymore. I don't want to go through this anymore. Just get this stuff out of me. Um, so I went and saw a surgeon, and she's like, whoa, 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 whoa. She was a black lady, and I really appreciate her approach to what I was going through. She listened. She asked me, did anyone ever put you on any medication to slow down the bleeding? And I'm like, I haven't heard of that. No. All I heard was, we're going to snatch some stuff up out of you, and that should take care of it. So she shook her head and said, unfortunately, that's what they do. So she said, let's try medication first and see if we can get it under control. I said, okay. So she put me on progesterone, and it worked. It stopped the bleeding. Um, I took it for like a year, and I'm like, I'm 56. When is this menopause stuff going to kick in? And how will I know it's kicking in if I'm taking this medicine that stops my periods? Um, oh, and as a side note, I had to take, when I went to the emergency room, and when I came back to the States and I went to the emergency room because of that heavy period, what happened is uh, I wound up having to have iron transfusions where they hooked me up to an IV and gave me iron a couple of times a month to get my iron levels back up. And I had to request this. Other doctors didn't say, hey, they just wanted to put me on the iron pill. The iron pill causes constipation. It takes much longer to build your iron up. My iron was so low. I mean, why put me through taking those pills when there's something else where you could just give me an infusion and it would bring me up much faster and make me feel better sooner? So I had heard a girl that I had worked with, she was pregnant and she had low iron. And she mentioned iron infusions to me. And I'm like, I never heard of that. I'm like, how come none of these doctors ever mentioned that to me? So while I was taking the Provera and stopping these periods, I had gotten in touch with a hematologist, and the hematologist set me up with iron infusions. And the few iron infusions I have got my iron back up. I was feeling better because I was tired all the time. I was tired. I was blaming it on perimenopause. I was blaming it on getting older. Um, I was dragging and just, and it was because my iron was low and my volume of blood was low. And it was just, nobody was putting this together, that it was because of these heavy, heavy periods. So anyway, back to the Provera, the progesterone I was taking that was stopping my periods. My concern was, hey, I'm 56 years old. I should be in menopause soon. How will I know I'm in menopause if I keep taking these pills? So I said I'd give it, another few months, and then I'm going to stop taking the pills and see what happens. Well, before that could happen, my pharmacy messed up my prescription and I ran out of pills. They had them on back order. I had to wait a week before they came back in. And of course, after I stopped that, I missed one pill and my period started. My period started and I bled for 2 weeks. I missed I missed one pill. Well, it wound up being a whole week, but it only took one pill for my period to start, and then I bled for 2 weeks. What the hell? So I called the surgeon and I'm like, look, doc, this has to go. I'm ready for it to go. It needs to go. So she said, okay, you know, you know, if that's what you want, that's what we'll do. I'm like, I'm not having any more kids. I don't know when menopause is going to start. And two, at this rate, my fibroids might not let menopause start. I don't want to be 60 still dealing with this. So I've been dealing with it for over 10 years. No more kids. I've had enough. So anyway, she scheduled me for my hysterectomy. Um, I went in Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. Northside Hospital in Atlanta, and my surgery started at 8:30, something like that. They were very, I mean, they worked like a machine. The way they brought us in, they got us set up, cleaned up, changed out, moved over here, signed these papers, talked to the anesthesiologist, here's your nurse, this is what's going to happen. The surgeon comes in and explains everything. Are you sure, you understand? We're all on the same page. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, we're going to knock you out now. And I woke up and my uterus was gone. I mean, it wasn't like that, but I mean, I was really impressed with how uh, together they had everything at the hospital. Um, I went home that same day. What I understand is that your uterus is supposed to be the size of a pear, and mine was the size of a large pineapple. I know she had to struggle to get it out. I have 6 holes in my abdomen. The holes is where she disconnected the uterus and the fallopian tubes and the and everything, and she pulled the fallopian tubes out through the holes, but the uterus she pulled out through my vagina because it was so big. She couldn't. These holes are maybe about that big. Yeah, the 6 holes are maybe quarters nickel size. Nickel size? Around nickel size. Um, Across my abdomen. Um, Maybe not even that big. They're probably that big because they're healing right now. Um, but yeah, so no way my uterus would have come through those holes. So anyway, yeah, I went home that same night. Um, I've had to walk to keep from getting forming blood clots. I have to do this breathing thing um, to keep from collecting fluid in my lungs, which I understand is natural after the anesthesia, having surgery. So I have to, go through these lung exercises and walk to help my body heal and not have, um, the bad side effects of having the surgery. Um, I was taking pain medication, so I didn't feel really bad. I just felt tired when I came home. That next day, just tired. Um, Day two, I felt great. I had the nerve to say, well, let me back up off this pain medication because I feel good. It was stupid. It was stupid because I started feeling horrible. The next day I felt really bad. I was having cramping. Um, they pump air into your abdomen so that they can see, so that air is still in there. So it's like if you ever had gas pain, that stuff's happening all in your cavity here. Um, so I'm constantly feeling bloat, feeling a tugging kind of pain. Um, and I started feeling soreness. Day 3, I'd say I started feeling soreness um, inside where I could tell was something had happened. Um, I have to say, I thought I would feel like something was missing. You know what I mean? Like you're a woman, you're supposed to have a uterus, it gets taken out. Wouldn't I feel this void? I mean, if you hadn't told me something was taken out, I wouldn't know. Uh, I don't, I don't feel a void. Um, Yeah, I don't feel a void. I don't feel like something. Now, one thing I will say is like when I would bend over to tie my shoes, I would feel something poke me. That's how big my uterus was. It was uncomfortable to bend over, and certain exercises I couldn't do. It would just like poke me in my ribs, in my rib cage. It was just very uncomfortable. I don't feel that anymore. So that's one thing I can say. But other than that, yeah, no, I wouldn't know anything was removed. I don't feel less feminine. I don't feel um, I don't feel like anything's missing. I just feel like I had some kind of procedure. I'm healing from it, and that's that. It's nice to be able to stop taking the Provera, but right now I'm taking so many pills. I can't stand it. So I'm back on the pain medication. I got off, and then I got on it, and then I kind of got off some of it, and I'm back on it because I was being stupid. I was, it's less invasive, but it's a significant surgery, and your body's gone through some trauma, and over, uh, I just thought I was doing better than I was as far as how I was feeling. So back on the pain medication, still doing the breathing exercises, walking. Um, what else? They want you to poop after surgery. So I had to take stool softeners and laxatives. Um, and it finally happened. Hallelujah, because I was miserable day 4. I think it was day 4 after the surgery. So yeah. So that's that's probably more details than you wanted, but that's the kind of stuff I'd like to know if I'm thinking about doing this or having this type of procedure. Um, I go back and see the doctor in 6 weeks. So in the meantime, it's like nothing in the vagina for 6 weeks, no sex. Um, I can't lift anything over 15 pounds, but I can drive. Um, I'm going back to the gym in the mornings, but I'm just walking. I'm not lifting or anything like that. I'm just walking. And the walking does help with the bowels and the gas. Um, it helps with that. So I would say you don't want to lay in the bed a lot, even though you need your rest, but you want to move around. It's going to help avoid blood clots and help expel the gas and help with your bowels. So yeah, I mean, if anything changes, I'll let you guys know. I'll do an update. But other than that, I'm good. Um, I'm glad to know I'm not going to have to deal with, heavy periods anymore. That chapter of my life is done. I've been dealing with perimenopausal symptoms for a long time. So, let's see what's happening. I'm still having the hot flashes, the night sweats. So we'll see if it gets worse with my uterus gone. But I think after 6 weeks, if I continue to have bothersome perimenopausal symptoms, I'll look into hormone replacement therapy. I'll just look into that. So, yeah. So I'm happy. Uterus is gone, fibroids are gone, the headaches of having heavy periods is gone. Hopefully, uh, my iron is good when my last blood thing. So no more iron infusions, no more iron pills. Just try to eat healthy, take a multivitamin, do what I need to do for my body for this part of my aging journey, this part of my life. So I'm relieved. And I figured I'd share this story with you guys. I was a little long-winded, sorry, but I hope that that information helps some of you out there that's thinking about it. Or so, all right, that's my story, and I hope it helps. Thanks for watching, as always, and take care.